Okay, so welcome everyone to today's Royal Sabre webinar session. Let's give another 30 seconds for any last minute attendees before we get started. Yes, hello everyone. My name is Matthew Shojekep, UI practice head here at Royal Sabre. It's my pleasure to welcome you to today's Royal Sabre webinar session on building a headless e-commerce front end with Next.js. So today, following are the agenda. So we will start with introduction to Royal Sabre. Then we will move to introduction to Nuxt.js, overview of Nuxt.js. Then we'll discuss a case study, a migration from Vue.js to Nuxt.js and features and benefit of the migration. And we will discuss on last on Royal Sabre UI offerings. Then there will be a Q&A session on the last of this session. Okay. So give me a couple of seconds so that I will be sharing the slide. Hope you're able to see my screen. Yeah. So that said, I would like to start us off by sharing a brief introduction, a brief Royal Sabre introduction for any attendees that might be meeting us for the first time today. So Royal Sabre is an IT consulting and digital transformation company specialized in providing end-to-end services and solutions across 12 plus industries and various business models, serving major enterprise organization as an IT systems implementers and trusted technology partner across leading technologies, including SAP, Salesforce, Magento, etc. These are I'm naming few. And we have been innovating in the commerce space since 2002 and have successfully completed over 1,500 projects for over 130 plus clients worldwide through our office across the US, Canada, India, Pakistan, KSA, and New Zealand. So let us start with the agenda. So introduction to Next.js. So what is Next.js, right? So we built a lot of single page application using JavaScript frameworks like Angular, React, Vue.js, etc. Right? So single page application dynamically populate the contents of their pages on load, right? So which means by the time Google crawls their site, the important content is yet to be injected into the site, right? So part of this problem can be solved by pre-rendering your application content, right? So this is where the server-side application comes in. And for the Vue.js applications, so we can build this server-side application using Next.js, right? So now let us dive into details of Next.js, right? So so Next.js is a library, building on Vue.js. So this is very extremely important. So you may ask, right, why I need a framework over a framework over a framework is if Vue.js already makes the development of Vue.js can makes the development of JavaScript the app easier. And what is the idea behind Next, right? Does it make the development easier for Vue.js? Then the answer is yes, right? So it simplifies the development of Vue.js applications and not because Vue.js is so difficult. There are some things which can be made easier. For example, major focus of Next.js is the creation of universal app. Okay, so with the universal, um, I can render on the server. So it is important to understand, as it's often misunderstood, we don't use Vue.js and Next.js on the server. So as like no, we do Express, because Express is something like we do in a server. So people think that this is something no, Next.js is something a server side no framework. No, so it is not a server side framework at all, right? So what? So if you see my presentation, so it allows us to create three types of application basically. Uh, One is static generated pages, that is called pre-rendering. So static generated application do not require API requests to fetch the content of the pages. That is, let's say the contents are already included in the HTML file. An example of static site is a portfolio website or a landing page for a product, right? So that is one type of no application we can build. The other one is a single page application. I think most of you know the most JavaScript frameworks like React or Angular, Vue or Ember, whatever we take a single page application, whose contents are dynamically populated with faster transitions. And the third type of application which we can develop using Next.js is server-side rendered application, which we call as SSR. So no, so through this server-side rendering techniques. Okay, so that is what the Next.js overview, a high level. What is Next.js and what kind of application we are able to develop using Next.js. So coming to an overview of Next.js, before I will go in deep of about about Next.js, I would like to explain. So what is server-side rendering, right? So you can see my screen actually, right? So in the screen, it is the ability of an application to contribute by displaying the web page on the server side instead of rendering it in the browser. That is the definition, right? If in the definition form, and you can see a diagram also. So what it will do is it will allow us to pre-render views on the fly. Okay, so that is on the server. So if you are visiting some pages in your Vue.js single page application, and you entered a URL for, let's say, in the diagram I'm showing that xyz.com, right? Typically what you get is that the response is index.html, right? Then a single page application where everything is rendered in the browser after that, right? Now you can pre-render things, as I said, on the fly on the server, and the Next.js makes that easier. So what is happening is that um, no, so in the server, this Next help to render, and still you are so you will see that the user is still browsing with the view app, but on the server side, it will help to render the pages. So, and the second thing is that it's also create bunch of folders and subfolders, and this will be converted into your routes of your view application, because that is another important thing, that you still build a view application at the end, right? So Next build on top of view, and it doesn't replace view, right? So we stick to the view world again. So the user still be able to browse in the view world or view application, and but what the end user is, but what the benefit we are getting is that many other advantages Next provides and utilities and certain tools, right? So I can say that it simplifies development of view application. It also doesn't add much to the file size of your project. So you don't know. So if you so typically people will think that, so when I will add the Next.js, it will increase the lot of weight. Right now, it will not increase a lot of weight, but simply gain a lot of features. Right. So that is what about server-side rendering and how Next.js help on that. So in simple words, what we can say is that the main scope is UI rendering while abstracting away the client and server-side distribution. And it's also framework flexible. That is, enough that you can use it as a main project base, or you can add in your current project based on a Node.js, right? So Next.js also present all configuration needed to make your development of a server rendered Vue.js. And if you see the PPT here, these are the in other words, we can say it will, it is giving, the routing, UX, and the server-side rendering, Webpack. So all this, added advantage tools and utilities. Also, if you look into the overall size of the, the libraries which you are downloading is coming around, 57 KB. And in case if you want a Vuex a storefront, and it will come with additional 60 KB. So and so it's like many other things with Webpack, with Vue loader, Babel loader, and you can see the code split and what a lot of features which the Next.js provides here. So, however, there is one more important thing I would like to tell you, that's regarding the server-side rendering, right? When we are talking about the regarding the server-side rendering, because it is very important to get that exactly understood and correctly, right? So I already said that we are building a single-page application. So we are building an application that runs in the browser. So at the end of the day, that is important to understand, right? It's a client-side framework, and at the end of the day, it is runs in a browser, right? So how does a server-side rendering fit in there? So let's consider this case. We have our so in the last PPT, I was showing a server-side rendering diagram, right? In that case, we have our user visiting our website, which is built with Vue.js, right? So you send a request to the server by entering a URL XYZ. For example, I have mentioned in my last PPT, right? So now typically you would get back a response, and if you have a single page application, that response is in index.html file, which contains your Vue app, as I mentioned, right? So it contains a bunch of scripts importing the Vue app, and from that time, everything runs in the browser. And if you click around in that application, you never send a new request, right? So that is what how the SPF works, right? Or get back a new response. Or if you do this, everything will be behind the screen like an Ajax request or response, right? So you will not be, a user will not be able to see anything that has been sending request. So you always stay in that index.html file. And the Vue application, the framework simply renders the parts, or wherever which all parts need to be rendered, it will render. And technically we are in the same page, right? We will not be able to see any thing changing. So now the problem with the single page application, right? What is happening is that if you have a page, let's say a site where you get a lot of content that's to be fetched, right? Maybe a kind of a blog site or something like that. Okay. What would happen is that you got the index.html file. Okay, and once it start once in the start the browser, right, start fetching the content from the behind the scenes using Ajax request, and it will render to the screen, correct? From a UI perspective, it's fine. So we are not no, we have a very good user experience, it is not changing. So we are as a UI a developer or a as a user, there will not be any, that user, there will not be any distraction around it, right? But from a search engine perspective, so it is very problematic. So what is happening, because the search engine crawler won't wait for the data to return, right? So the crawler will see an empty page, okay, or just a spinner, and whatever you are showing whenever, so it is not there, so it will show that, right? It will be showing a blank screen. So now this is where the server-side rendering like Next.js can help you, right? So what is happening is you are not creating a server-side application, server-side application, okay? So and you are not writing something, as I said in my previous slide, it is not, you are not, it is not a replacement for Express or any other server-side framework. Instead, the index.html file which contain your view app can be pre-rendered on the server for each new request, correct? So when the user is using your page, right, but whenever a new URL is entered, so you will hit the enter button, right, or you will do a refresh. The search engine, what the engine crawler effectively does just like that. It visit a different URLs, and each URL is a brand new fetch of your pages of this request. So we can pre-render the index.html file to execute that initial view code, and that should not in your browser, but on the server. That is the key thing here. Okay, so we pre-render it on the fly upon the request for the first load only. So that is very important. First load. Okay. So for the first load only, and thereafter we again have a single page application running in the browser, and we still have a normal view application. So what you are getting, so you are getting an experience of a single page application. Also, you are getting the benefits, right, of the server side rendering. So if you then click around in this pre-rendered page, right, you still send your Ajax request and you have the view manage everything, but that first request is pre-rendered on the server. You can do this without Next. So you will ask, okay, so what is the need of Next? I can do this manually, right? But at the end of the day, there are lot of work is involved to launch this kind of um, a particular server-side rendering libraries or something like that. So that is where the Next helps you with that. Is exactly what that Next does. That it will simplifies. It help you with the pre-rendered rendering of that first initial pages, and besides that, the server rendering makes the creation of your app simple, and you don't want to create so everything it simplifies. It will give everything for your kind of a server side rendering process, right? So that is what how Vue helps. So uh, so now how Next.js works, right? So if you see the diagram here, when a user visit a Nuxt.js web app, or let's say he is navigating to one of the web pages via Next link, here is what exactly it is happening, right? So you can see the no the when the user requested, when the user initially visits the the web application, if the next server init action is clearly defined in the store. So Next will call this and update the store. And Next.js, then what happened? It execute any existing middleware for the web page visited. It checks the next .config .js file in the first place for global middleware. Then checks the matching layout file for that particular requested page, and finally check the web page and its children for the for middleware. So and middleware is prioritized in that particular whatever we are seeing 1, 2, 3 order, right? That particular route that visited is a dynamic route and a validated method exists, right? For it, then routes is clearly validated. Then Next.js call the fetch method and async data methods to load data before the rendering the page. So the async method, whatever we can see here, is widely used for fetching the data and rendering it server side, while the fetch method is widely used for fill the store before rendering the web page. And thus the final step or the final page containing the proper data is rendered. Okay, so I'm just moving to the next page. Okay, so we will now we were talking on all this Next.js and the capabilities and how the server side rendering and is all happening. Now let us see and now let us try to install and see what exactly know how the folder structure and so on, right? So let us create uh, 1 second. Let me give me a few minutes. Okay. So now we have created a folder. So now what we will do is that we will run the npm init next app. Then we will just give a project name. So here we will give this as a project name called sample project. Then we are running the project. Okay, so it's generating the needed. So it is asking whether we need to install JavaScript or TypeScript. JavaScript will select. And it is asking a package manager when we install npm. Then all this you can, for right now we will just exit it. There are a lot of things, utilities are there, and we'll go to the next, and we will create a, we'll just select bootstrap maybe view. Yeah, then yeah, so we can select with so here see there are options like we can select Axios, progressive web app, PWA, right, and whatever. So right now we will just go with Axios. Okay, so now we have whatever linting things, right? So we used to go with ESLint, and so we can select all these linting tools, right? ESLint and StyleLint, whatever. Yeah, we have selected. Then now we can look into the so we can just say none. Then so here it is where you need to actually select what exactly it is. It is a you want a single page application or you want to do an SS server side rendering thing. So let us do so for time being, let us keep SSR. You can explore more into single page application for now. For this demo, SSR. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So just have some static, right? String will do it. Yeah. So just default will select and go ahead. Yes, config. Yeah. So none for now we will select, and none we can select. Yeah. So it started installing packages. So while there are a lot of while it installs. So let me say there are a lot of commands like next, dev, next build, and next start, and next generate. All these commands has been given very well documented, and you can go and look into what exactly all these commands is about, right? So yeah, so one of the so when it installed, right, one of the biggest innovation of Next.js, let's say that Next.js comes with its next generate command, because this command generate a static version of the web application, right? So it will generate HTML for every one of the routes and put it inside of no, its own file. So the benefit of doing this is these are quite similar to the advantage of universal web application. Um, and there is a markup there to make loading the page faster and to help social media crawlers and search engine crawlers crawl the website. And so the difference is that you do not need a server anymore. Everything is generated during the web development phase itself. You will be able to get things created. So another benefit is that there is no, another benefit is that get automatic code splitting, right? So Next.js can easily generate a stable version of your website with a special webpack configuration. So for each route that is statically generated, the route gets its own JavaScript file also with just the code needed to run in a particular route. So you are seeing that whatever the packages and all we have, right? So another benefit is that set up via the command line with the starter template, right? So Next.js also provide a starter template that gives you all the scaffolding needed to get started with a project with a good structure of the folders for an organization, right? So we don't want to struggle with all this actually. And Vue get a great project structure by default. In many small Vue web applications, if you see, you end up in managing the code structure as best you can in different files. The default next application structure while it complete the installation, we will be able to see that provides you with a great starting point of organizing your web application in a very understandable manner, right? So that is what no, Next provides. And, okay, okay. So thus, I think we have uh, installed almost. Okay. So I think for interest of the time, I think I'm not waiting for not waiting for the complete installation, but I have a sample where online store we have already created. For interest of time I will show because otherwise yeah. so so this is a no actually a sample which we have no created. Second. Okay, so if you so there are second my okay. So okay, so there are many folders you are able to see, right? If you look into the see the structure of the folder, it is very well structured, right? So there are components folder you can see. This component folder, if you open the component folder, see these are a folder so that you can organize your Vue components individually, right? So you can see all the components, and there is another folder called a layout folder. uh, so the layout folder, a folder, no, it's contain your main web application layout. So it is where the exactly the main layout comes actually. Now you have pages, right? So pages is yeah, okay, and the pages. So this folder contain your web app routes. So next, read all the view files inside this directory. Okay, then this directory and no builds the web application router. So here, whatever in e-commerce, if you're building this application, all your product PLP, PDP, and all kind of right whatever what all you want out. So all these things will be coming inside, right? So and also you have something called store. So store folder is there, but that is very specific to that the view store front end actually. And another is that there is a folder where you have your SSR, no, your server-side rendering pages, right? So this is a docs folder. So that is what I was actually mentioning earlier. So what is happening is that, so if you see all this, right, you can able to see there are all this the HTML, all this has been created. All this no server-side rendering pages will be created here. So this is one of the while just a command, right? You will be able to just get all the whatever you want to get. You will be able to get in the folder. The server-side rendering pages will be created. Okay, so next. Okay, so. Yeah, so that's about a sample application, and I think yeah. So I'll just go to the we have completed that. So let me yeah. So okay. So let me give you a detail about a case study. So today is a case study we have taken. So this case study, no, this is about a leading multinational steel manufacturer based out of India. So this the application, right? What we have built helps the MSMEs streamline their steel supply and demand. So thereby delivering a experience for the steel buyers, right? So what happened, right? When our team developed this, right? So um, our front-end developer didn't even really consider using Next.js as a main technology. Correct. So we were have started with a Nuxt.js. We have started with the Vue, right? So earlier, because when we started it and building the commerce application, then the business challenges there we have got the top two business challenges has got added, because earlier the business challenges was they do not have an online platform to no, we are actually no, making a online platform for them, so they are not able to no, view they want to view the orders and all the sort of online transaction they want to do, and they are also want to they have lack of customer visibility and so on, and so they want to at the end of the day they want to build a online e-commerce application, but later the business challenges added. Sorry. So that is the one is that what is happening is that there is a challenge with the SEO, and also there is a one of the important issue is that they are no there are static pages are there, and the static pages they will be getting the static content from contentful platform, and so every time what happened means that when a request is sent, keep on sending to the backend, request is sent, there is a every no request they have to there is a charge for it, right? And also there is a limit for a lot of this transaction, so it is a painful process for them actually, right? So so that is what how we have started, and our approach is that we our architect and we have migrated from a view to a Nuxt.js with a lot of benefits for the front end part. We like very focused on it, to overcome because other three are we can achieve from the typical Vue.js, but the other one, the SSR and other SSC, SEO improvement, next came into the picture, right? So it is that no, we started the migration process, and we started initially itself we build the wireframes, and all the automated deployment process has been set up, and we followed a agile model of agile model of development, and all this right CI/CD which we have implemented in Google GCP, and so that how actually we have provided a solution. We have provided we have built a best user-friendly e-commerce application with all what the customer is looking at, not only the commerce enablement, also the biggest pain points we have solved, and also the SEO challenges we were able to overcome. So if you see the slide, the screenshots I have given. If you see, these are the typical, because it's a no, there are a lot of. If you see the first screenshot and the second screenshot, you can see that even yeah, no, even when you select, if you go from a PLP to a PDP, so there are many measurements. Based upon that, they will be able to select and order and so and so. So what has happened that what I was trying to tell you a summary about this case study is that, so Next.js, so we are trying to build a server-side rendering mechanism and all. We start to build that. It will end up in too much of no time it will consume. And so that Next came into the picture where we were able to immediately start um, building a server-side application, right? So that's what the case study. And finally, I want to give you a give you about our Royal Saver service offerings. So we are a global team, and we are a specialized the UI team of Royal Saver is a specialized. We are a specialized team of start from a UI developers, architects, and all, and we provide. Support in application development, maintenance, support. We will do the help in transformation and integration and migration, and also digital platform UI enablement, right? So, whenever, whatever in the UI world you can think about, from an application development to maintenance and whatever, we as a Royal Cyber, we will be able to help you. And very specific to the digital platforms, like Hybris, it use a front end technologies called Spartacus. We are specialized people on specialized team, and we have done a lot of projects on that. Or either it is a AMUI, or it's a Salesforce UI, or whatever that digital platform. We are no, we are a specialized team. We will be able to help you in building any sort of application related to front end from front end team, right? So we work on a lot of technologies like Angular, React, Vue.js, Spartacus, jQuery, HTML, Vanilla, Vanilla UI, and sort of what anything you can think of in the front end space. We have executed a lot of projects, and we have a lot of specialized people working on it. Okay. Now with that, I now at this time now to open the floor for any questions that may have come up during this presentation. That said, please start sharing your questions over the open chat feature, and we will do our best to answer as many questions as we can in the next few minutes. Any questions that we can't get to in time, our team will reach out to you directly with the appropriate insight.